Welcome, SIGGRAPHs, to today's webinar, SIGGRAPH and You, the SV program, Dailies, and RealTime Live. Joining us today are Jeremy Kenisky, Mark Elendt, and Nico Gonzalez, chairs of Student Volunteer Program, Dailies, and RealTime Live, respectively. Each will have 15 minutes maximum to talk about their programs, responsibilities, and how you can get involved at future SIGGRAPH conferences. If you have questions, please type them into the question window. Our speakers will answer everything they can at the end of the presentations, considering the time we have left. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen. Let's start with Student Volunteers Program. Jeremy, it's all yours.
Great, thanks, Zeb. I think my screen is sharing. You guys should be able to see it by now. So thanks for joining the webinar. Thanks S3 and Mark and Zeb and Nico for putting all this together. My name is Jeremy Kenisky, and I'm running the Student Volunteer Program for Vancouver this year. Quick when and where for those of you that you should probably know this, but just in case, the conference is from the 10th through the 14th of August this year at the Vancouver Convention Center. We were there in 2011 and had, I think, the biggest show in the history of Vancouver, or Canada maybe even, and so that's where we're going back again. Essentially, the Student Volunteer Program is the program that operationally sort of helps run and facilitate the entire conference, and it's run by students, people like you that are here on this call today. We have everyone from high school students to undergraduate, graduate, PhD students, really people from all over the world. I think last year's count was something around 30-something countries. So we really get people from all over the place to participate, and you know, your main task here is to support the conference, but really there's a lot of great networking opportunities and really cool perks that come along with being a student volunteer. So kind of go over quickly eligibility, and then we'll talk about some of your responsibilities, what you get out of it, and then I'll kind of show you how you can apply to the program. So as long as you're 18 years or older by August 10th, or actually August 9th, before August 10th, you're eligible to apply. And you have to be high school, undergrad, or graduate student enrolled full-time for at least one semester during the summer of 2013 on until the day SIGGRAPH starts. So that's summer 13 to spring 14, essentially. And then throughout the conference, you're going to be expected to serve for around 23 hours. So we'll kind of split up your hours, and you can even fill out preferences on the online system, where you'll work different venues, doing different things, everything from checking badges at doors, which isn't super glorious, but is necessary, to working in e-tech and working in the art gallery and all kinds of different things like that. There is a mandatory orientation where we kind of bring everyone in and explain to them what's expected and what they're going to be doing and who they'll be reporting to, all that kind of stuff. And that's on August 9th, which is the Saturday before SIGGRAPH starts. And that's a mandatory session. Usually happens around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so plan to be there for that. So again, we kind of advise people to arrive by noon. That way you kind of have time to get settled in your hotel and be ready for orientation, but at 4 o'clock. And then we ask people not to leave until really until Friday, but if you had to leave on Thursday at the end of the week, you could. We usually do a cool awards ceremony and raffle off a bunch of cool stuff the Thursday that the conference. And a lot of times people like to go out and have fun Thursday night as sort of a wrap for the whole show. So Friday morning's usually a good time to leave. If you're selected, we ask you to prior to your shift and be ready to be taken to your shift. The Vancouver Convention Center is a huge place, and so we have what we call team leaders that kind of direct our student volunteers around to put them at certain venues, and those team leaders work closely with people like Nico and Mark, who are chairing different venues, and they work with them to make sure that those venues are properly staffed. So some of the cool benefits of being a student volunteer is you get a full conference registration badge, which is, I mean, I think the market value for that is somewhere around $1,200. and it basically gets you into anywhere inside the conference for free. So when you're not on shift and when you're not working and serving the conference, you have the ability to go see any session you want, go into any gallery, any e-tech stuff, any of the shows, and you can really experience all of SIGGRAPH, so that's pretty cool. On top of that, we also do special sessions where we get the same people that are presenting at different production sessions and different courses and papers. We get them to actually come and speak only to student volunteers. And so we have these little special sessions where they come into our room and only SVs are allowed, and they kind of have a little bit more intimate of a session with students. Students can ask questions and really get to know. It's a great way to set up. I can't tell you how many internships and mentorships have spawned out of these special sessions. So they're really a great student volunteer. And then in addition to that, S3 heads up these reel and resume reviews where they get, again, more mentors and more people experienced in SIGGRAPH and in the industry to kind of sit down with you, look at your reel, look at your resume, look at all of your stuff, and kind of give you good feedback on where you want to go and what you want to do with your career. And what S3 does is they try to match you up with people that are already in the fields that you want to be in and in the jobs that you want. And so it's a really cool opportunity to sit down with some really important people and people that are doing really cool work. Obviously, it's a bunch of networking opportunities. You know, some of it's kind of like when you're in school, they always say you learn more from your classmates than you do from your professors. But it's kind of the same thing here. You're going to meet a lot of great mentors throughout the week, but you're also going to meet a lot of future leaders and future friends throughout the world through the program. So that's really one of the biggest benefits. And for a lot of us that are still involved in SIGGRAPH, we come back every year too. We also do raffles and give away cool stuff too. It kind of depends year to year what we get, but we always have some cool stuff to hand out. So that's always fun. And then if you write a really good essay and you have a really great application, we also offer housing and travel assistance as we can. It's not always guaranteed, but a lot of times we can give out housing, we can give out some plane tickets now and then, but that's also a potential perk. So kind of the nuts and bolts here, the application is due next Sunday, February 9th. A few of the things you're going to need is to list all your picture. Last year we tried to, and I think we successfully, memorize everybody's name when they showed up on site, so that's kind of a cool, easy way for us to sort of get to know people before the conference starts and get to know who we're going to be working with. We ask you to include a faculty reference or a professional reference of some sort. We end up sending these people an email saying, would you recommend this student for our program? Yes or no. It's pretty simple. We ask you to upload proof of student status. That's either an ID or a transcript. Transcripts are better, but IDs work if they have a date on them saying when you were enrolled full time. From there, you can also apply for the travel and housing assistance. But the biggest thing really for the application is the essays, and here we have the 3 essay questions listed. And these are in the application, of course, on the next page, which I'll show you how to get there. But these are really the most important part of the application. It's important that you answer these questions thoroughly and you really think about them. And if you can, try to be creative and answer them in ways that kind of show your experience in these areas. A lot of people have group projects that went bad or that went awry in their time in school, things like that. So we see a lot of those. And anything you can do in your essays to sort of set yourself apart is good. Things that show you have cross-cultural experience, things like that are always really great. So important dates, again, February 9th is when we are closing the applications. There's really no exceptions to that. If you should do a time conversion on the time listed here. If you miss that deadline, there's no way we can open it. It automatically closes, and there's not much we can do about it. In April, we'll send out application results. We will grade applications from the 9th up until the first week of April. And you can apply online right here at sis.siggraph.org. If you want more information about the SV program, how to get in contact with me or any of that, you can click on sv.siggraph.org also, and that will take you to our student volunteer homepage. And here's some more quick submission deadlines in case you're interested. But other than that, I think that's my time, and I'll pass it over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Jeremy. Oh, thanks, Jeremy. Thanks. Okay. I think I've got it now. So I'm Mark Elendt, and I'm here to talk about SIGGRAPH Dailies. At my day job, I'm a developer at Side Effects Software, and I've been writing code for Side Effects for about 20 years now. While working at Side Effects, I've also been fortunate enough to attend SIGGRAPH every year except for one. And I sure wish I had a time machine to fix that one. SIGGRAPH has been really important to me over the years. I've always been inspired by the research presented and the fantastic work that's being put on display. And every year it's really invigorating to meet friends and discuss ideas with colleagues. SIGGRAPH has given me so much over the years that I wanted to give some back. So I volunteered to help out. And this year I've volunteered to help with the Dailies program. So SIGGRAPH, if you don't know what it is, it's a huge conference. There are tons of different programs, from technical papers, which talk about the very latest research, to the Computer Animation Festival, which highlights the best production work for the past year. The SIGGRAPH community as a whole is made up of a lot of smaller communities. Most of us aren't really pigeonholed into a single community. I mean, as a software developer, I thrive on the latest research, but I also get a kick out of seeing the art gallery and emerging technology. One of the larger communities at SIGGRAPH is the production community, and there are a lot of programs at SIGGRAPH that showcase the latest production work. For example, the Computer Animation Festival shows the best work from the past year, but it shows only the finished, the polished work. It doesn't show all the sweat and effort that went into making the productions. Production sessions give you a really in-depth look into a single production, but they're kind of at a high level. It's primarily directors and producers talking about how shots were done and how they fit into the movie as a whole. The talk sessions are presentations that discuss the latest research that's used by production, but again, not how the production was done. And while I love all these venues, talks are a especially favorite of mine. There's a huge part of the production community who don't get a lot of representation, and that's the artists who actually do the production, and that's where Dailies comes in. While I love, so Dailies is really important to me because it's one of the very few places where artists get to explain their craft, and there really is a craft to making computer graphics. There really isn't anywhere else that gives this artist the kind of forum to share their experiences. Dailies are modeled after the process that goes on at a lot of film and game studios. In a studio, dailies are where the artists get up and give a brief presentation to show the progress of their work. And SIGGRAPH dailies are kind of similar. Artists get up and speak for about 90 seconds on the thing they've done. It might be a model or a shot they lit, or a way they designed their rig to give extra control to an animator. But whatever it is, it's something that challenged them and they are extraordinarily proud of. And now, to give you a flavor of what Dailies is actually about, I'd like to show you a few examples from previous years. This first Dailies presentation is by Fran Kalal, who worked on Ellie's wedding dress in Pixar's movie Up.
Hi, I'm Fran Kalal, and I'm here today to talk about Ellie's wedding dress in the movie Up, and also about shot simulation for Ellie's wedding dress. I tailored Ellie's wedding dress in 3 weeks while I was planning my own wedding, and she got about 51 fittings, and for those who've been married, that's a little high number of fittings for a lady's wedding dress. So before each shot begins, I have about 70 frames of pre-roll trying to get this dress in position. There's a massive amount of cloth here, both the veil and the skirt. And so with these 70 frames of pre-roll, I'm zhuzhing the dress and kind of draping things around so that she looks really, really good in every shot. So traditionally, the bridesmaid is the person charged with making sure that the bride looks good in every shot. And since I don't see anyone standing up there with her, I like to think of myself as her bridesmaid. Thanks.
The important thing to realize is that the production community is a lot broader than you might initially think. Last year, there were Dailies presentations from game companies, scientific visualizations, and even one from the demo scene. Dailies is also a great venue for students to show their work. Almost a third of the talks last year were given by students. And this next Dailies presentation is by Renato, who is a jewelry designer who ends up pushing his comfort zone when he commits to designing a chair.
If a necklace doesn't work, you don't wear it. If a chair doesn't work, your fat ass might end up on the ground. What the hell do I know about furniture? I make shiny, wet, voluptuous, benippled plastic jewelry. But I stupidly committed myself to designing a chair earlier this year, and I fucking hate things that are made out of dead trees. Do my rough 3D models, half-assed animations, or crude craft porn contribute to a meaningful seat? Or just allow me to push off into the future the responsibility for getting it right? How does being unconstrained by the burden of scale, knowledge of subject, or willingness to do appropriate functional research before beginning affect my work? Sketch, trace, model, morph, animate, review, repeat. Sketch, trace, model, morph, animate, review, repeat. This clip charts the first few weeks of play in the development of a commissioned chair I'm still working on for a museum exhibition called Chairmania. These skinned, wiry mutations multiply, fuse, step and repeat, occasionally relapsing into their original idea, stubbornly refusing to be amazing. Every day I pack my render queue with the latest mutant to visualize random, impractical materials while I teach classes and rant in endless meetings. I get feedback, dismiss it, and press on.
So what I'm hoping is that you will think of submitting to Dailies. And if you are thinking of submitting, it's a really easy process. All you need is a short clip of video or a PDF describing the story behind the work. On the whole, Dailies is one of the most accessible ways to participate in SIGGRAPH. It's one of the few places where you'll get to see students present alongside top artists from studios like Pixar and DreamWorks. Now, I know that not everyone will be able to make it to Vancouver this year, but if you still want to share your work, you can submit a recorded daily presentation. SIGGRAPH prefers live presentations, so the bar for acceptance will be a little higher for recorded dailies. All of the submissions are reviewed by a jury of industry professionals who judge the work on two main criteria. Obviously, the quality of the work is important, but almost equally important is the story behind the work. An interesting story makes a really great Dailies presentation. And now, I'd like to leave you with one final Dailies presentation. In this talk, Mark Ravel is having trouble getting just the right look for a job with a tight deadline. A very tight deadline.
My pharma client had pasted together a bunch of stock art, but thought it would be oh so much cooler to have a 1080p animation. They gave me 2 days. I said yes because they pay well and usually on time. The concept was a flower with a molecule of the client's drug in the center. The flower pops up through the snow while melting the snow with some sort of mystical flower heat. In my head, there were not too many elements. The flower would be fairly simple. I knew how to comb the molecular databases for an actual formula and create a model. The ground was a weird moss with a few rocks. And then there was the snow. Snow is just a very weird thing. It really has no color of its own. It bounces light in strange ways deep into itself, and it glimmers. Everything I tried didn't look like snow. I was getting frustrated when I received good news from the client. 1 more day. Hurrah! 3 days. Searching online for close-up shots of snow wasn't really working. Luckily, it was January, and while I'm in California, Mom and Dad are still in Ohio. Dad has questionable photo skills, and I knew precious time would be burned talking Dad through the process of sending photos over the internet, but I was desperate. And in the end, Dad's photos were not that much help. So after a little more experimentation, I ended up with a very low poly surface populated with 225,000 instances of 2 single polygon snowflakes with a sprinkle of randomness applied. The extremely short timeline and the hours and hours of dead ends in snowmaking didn't leave a lot of time to finesse things, but the client loved it. So all in all, a successful 3 days.
So thank you for your attention, and I hope to see you in Vancouver. And if you want to see some more example dailies, there's the link at the bottom of the screen, and there are, I think, 10 other videos there that you can watch. Thank you very much.
Okay, fantastic. So I guess I'm going to take it over. Hello, everybody. My name is Nico Gonzalez, and I am the chair for RealTime Live. Now, SIGGRAPH 2014 has a little bit of a spin-off in what RealTime Live is going to bring this year. So first of all, I want to show you guys just a quick video of what RealTime was last year. Then I'm very energetically going to tell you everything about it. Just make sure that you pay attention because you don't want to miss it. Whoops. So we have some breaking news. We're calling all evil geniuses, mad scientists, creative computer gods. If you have been toiling in the lab for the last year on cutting-edge, awe-inspiring projects that focus on real-time interactions on graphics, then we want you. Now, if you have a mind-controlled robotic monkey with laser eyes, you will be automatically accepted. What is RealTime Live? RealTime Live remains as a premier showcase for the most innovative and interactive real-time graphics created within the last 12 months, everything packaged into a very diverse and fast-paced show. What exactly is it that we're looking for? You name it, computer games, real-time art explorations, research projects, military or industrial simulations, interactive animations and graphics, scientific visualizations, medical, astrophysics, astronomy, anything scientific, interactive data visualizations and information graphics, and of course, armies of autonomous penguin drones with shrink ray bow ties. Basically, as long as the submission is interactively controlled, rendered in real time, and you can repeat it in front of a live audience, it will be considered. Let me say that again. Submissions must be interactively controlled, rendered in real time, and you have to do it again in front of a live audience. So let me show you a couple of examples. What we have right here, I swear it's not stock motion, it is fluent on my end. His name is Digital IRA. This was a real-time facial animation for high-end resolution scans driven by video performance capture rendered in a reproducible game-ready pipeline. This was actually created by Activision. It was presented last year. And now I know that you can see that IRA is quite handsome. So if you want to get to know him a little bit better, you can actually add him to Facebook. His Facebook address is www.facebook.com/digitalira. Another example is Destroy. This was a new approach using predefined fracture patterns. When an object is to be fractured for runtime, the pattern is aligned with the impact location and used as a stencil to decompose the model into pieces. Of course, NVIDIA show off some amazing work with this. It's a massive destruction in real-time demo. It was a lot of fun. Trust me, I was able to destroy quite a bit of that environment. Had a little bit too much fun with it, to be honest. So that was it, short and sweet. Apply now. Deadline, this is not a joke, April 1st, 5 p.m. EST. Make sure that you come by, drop your best work, SIGGRAPH 2014, s2014.siggraph.org. And with that, I will see you in Vancouver. Zeb, I will take any questions.
All right, our first question is for Mark. So could something in game design make it into the dailies?
Yeah, Dailies is about production. So if you've designed a level or designed a character or done a real-time shader, those are all perfectly valid for Dailies. We'd love to hear about it. There's got to be a story behind it, something that makes it interesting to share your experience. But yeah, we'd love something like that. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. And the other questions were for Jeremy. Specifically, when is the last possible moment students from 2013 can be eligible? For instance, we had one April graduate that wanted to apply still.
So Zeb, they basically have to be enrolled full-time from June 2013 until August 2014. So if they were enrolled full-time for any semester between there, then they're eligible.
Thanks, Jeremy. Our next question, also for Jeremy, from Jennifer Rose Rizzo, about how many student volunteers are accepted for the conference.
So historically, we have anywhere from 1,000 to 1,400 apply, and we've accepted anywhere from 250 to 350 students. We're probably, it's hard to say right now because we haven't completely figured out how many people we need for each venue, but we're probably going to accept somewhere around 300 this year. So if we expect around 1,000 applications and 300, we'll accept about 300 of them. So.
Thanks, Jeremy. Also, another question: if a person is enrolled from August 2013 to June 2014, can they still?
Yes, they are eligible.
Next question is from Casey Kwok. Are there any volunteer opportunities for ex-students not able to get on a committee?
That's a good question. So Casey is probably aware we used to have the ex-student volunteer program, which kind of allowed people that were no longer students but were not on a specific committee to kind of help out other committees. That program was cut for budget reasons a few years ago, but it's actually, I've heard talks of bringing it back, but I don't know for sure. I don't know if maybe Nico could speak to that a little better.
Yeah, so SIGGRAPH is always looking for volunteers. There's a lot of different opportunities. If you have graduated, you're no longer eligible for the SV program. Basically, the way it works is like look into what you're most passionate about. Where would you, what do you think you would have the most to offer to the conference? Would it be in the studio? Would it be in real-time live? Would it be in where would you be the most useful? And reach out to that chair. If Dailies is what you're very interested in, you can reach out to Mark. If real-time is something that you're very passionate about, reach out to me. There's the art gallery, the studio, many different opportunities, but it all starts with actually going to the website, finding the program that you think you will be most useful at, and reaching out.
Mark wanted to add a little bit about games and the dailies. Mark, there's also a question from Chris for the deadline for the dailies. He came in a little late.
Sure. I wanted to point out that on the SIGGRAPH 2013 website, you can get a list of all the presenters, and you'll see that there were, on the game side, there were presentations from Blizzard, from Naughty Dog, and several game companies presented. Dailies has a later deadline. It's April 1st is the deadline, but you can submit now and submit often. Thank you.
Sorry, if I may interrupt really quickly, I would love to ask
Mark, Jeremy has another one for you. Are international students having the same chances?
Yeah, we don't really discriminate. We don't really discriminate at all. It's all based on your essays and other grade point average, all the things you fill out in your application. In fact, we actually actively try to, we embrace the fact that we have a really diverse community. So yeah, totally. International students are more than welcome, and we're glad to have them apply.
Thanks, Jeremy. Next question from Nathan Pike for Mark. When submitting for the dailies along with a short story, do you want any work in progress images along with final renders?
When submitting to dailies, yeah, absolutely. Work in progress is just as valid as final renders. You may not even need the final renders if the work in progress is illustrative of your work and what was involved. That's even more important than actually the final renders. If you're talking about a model you created, you might even just have a turntable, or if there's an effect, you might repeat that effect 30 times over the period of your talk. So whatever shows the work and what went into it and all the effort that you put into it, that's what we want to see.
Great, thanks, Mark. Norbert's got another question for you. Can non-production pieces, example personal projects, still qualify for dailies if the quality is deemed high enough?
Sorry, what was the question? Could you repeat it, please?
Sure, Mark. Norbert asks, can non-production pieces, for example, personal projects, still qualify for dailies if the quality is deemed high enough?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're doing personal pieces, that's still doing production. So you're making the art, and that's what dailies is all about, showing that process of the creative process.
Thanks. Jeremy, Jennifer has two questions. One, why does the application not have a resume or transcript requirement? And also, can student portfolios be a factor in the application for student volunteer?
There is a place where you upload a transcript. You have to upload the document after you fill out the application. And no, we don't look at portfolio at all, unfortunately, to assess application.
All right, thanks. Sukami has a question. It might be for all of you. What is the deadline to apply for subcommittee volunteer for the studio? I don't think that's really any of your guys' areas, but maybe you know.
That's probably. Go ahead, Nico.
No, I was going to say that the subcommittees are picked based on a rotating basis, so it's up to the chair. As far as a deadline, I would say now. So the sooner you reach out to that chair, the better. A lot of chairs already have subcommittees picked, some don't, so it is very dependent on the specific program. So my recommendation is, if you are interested in a subcommittee position, reach out as soon as possible, and it all depends on the program.
Yeah, Courtney is the studio chair this year, and I think if someone was looking to get on a studio subcommittee, the best bet might be to contact 2015 even. I think they might already have their subcommittees picked for 2014.
All right, next one's for Mark from Valerie. She says, hi, hello, just wondering if social media productions could count for a daily. I imagine she's meaning any type of viral visuals.
Hi, Valerie. Yes, I would assume so. If you're doing computer graphics and you're making imagery, or even if it's for social media, then that counts, I think. If there's a great story behind it and you're proud of the work and it's challenging, then it would make a great video. You can also take a look at, I would suggest taking a look at the examples that are on the submissions page for 2014, just to get a flavor of what they are about.
She says thanks. Norbert mentions Courtney for chair for the studio, still picking her subcommittee currently. Are there any other questions? Anyone? It looks like we're doing, all the questions are answered. That's all the time we have for today. I want to thank our speakers, Jeremy, Mark, and Nico, as well as the Toronto SIGGRAPH chapter for joining us. We'll see you guys at Vancouver.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much, and see you then.
See you guys in Vancouver.
Thanks, everyone.